I was an ordinary guy, leading a life that can only be described as mundane. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. My name is Alex, and I was content with the predictable rhythm of my existence. But all of that changed one fateful night, when the boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary shattered, leaving me trapped in a world of unfathomable horror. It all began innocently enough, on a cold winter evening. I had just finished my work for the day and was ready to unwind in the warmth of my cozy apartment. As I settled into my favorite armchair with a cup of hot cocoa, I heard a faint scratching sound coming from the direction of the window. I glanced over, thinking it was probably just a tree branch or a stray cat. But when I peered outside, I saw nothing amiss. Shrugging it off, I returned to my book, trying to lose myself in its pages. But the scratching persisted, growing louder and more insistent. Irritated, I got up to investigate, convinced that some kind of critter was wreaking havoc on the exterior of my window. I opened the curtains and nearly jumped out of my skin. There, clinging to the glass with twisted limbs and a grotesque smile, was a face I could never forget. Its eyes were soulless voids, its skin pale and mottled as if it had been rotting for centuries. The thing's lips curled back to reveal jagged, yellowed teeth, and its breath fogged up the window pane as it exhaled with a hiss. I stumbled back, my heart racing in terror. I blinked, hoping that what I was seeing was a mere hallucination born from exhaustion. But when I looked again, the face was still there, its expression turning from a malevolent grin to a leer that seemed to pierce through my very soul. Paralyzed with fear, I watched as the creature traced a long, bunny finger down the glass, leaving a trail of frost in its wake. I tore myself away from the window and stumbled backwards, my mind racing to make sense of what I had just witnessed. This couldn't be real, I thought. Maybe I was suffering from some kind of mental breakdown. I splashed cold water on my face, trying to shake off the creeping dread that had settled in my chest. As I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, I felt a sudden, icy breath on the back of my neck. Whipping around, I found myself face to face with the creature once again. It had somehow entered my apartment, its distorted form crouched in the corner of the bathroom, its limbs twisted at unnatural angles. Its breath smelled of decay and putrid flesh, and its voice slithered into my mind like a serpent. "Ordinary no more, Alex," it whispered, its voice a nightmarish symphony of whispers and screams. "You have been chosen to bear witness to the hidden terrors that lurk beneath the surface of your world." I wanted to scream, to run, to do anything to escape the clutches of this abomination. But my body remained frozen, my muscles refusing to obey my commands. The creature's laughter echoed in my mind as it faded into the shadows, leaving me alone in my terror-stricken silence. Days turned into weeks, and the creature's presence became an inescapable nightmare. It would appear in the most unexpected places, lurking in the shadows of my bedroom, peering out from the depths of my closet, and even whispering malevolent secrets into my ears as I tried to sleep. Its haunting presence gnawed at my sanity, its chilling words etching themselves into the recesses of my mind. I became a recluse, avoiding contact with friends and family as the creature's influence consumed my thoughts. Every time I closed my eyes, I was bombarded by visions of unspeakable horrors, landscapes of writhing tendrils, skies choked with darkness, and a sense of impending doom that seemed to permeate every fiber of my being. But as the weeks turned into months, something began to change within me. The fear that had once paralyzed me slowly transformed into a burning determination. I refused to let this creature control my life any longer. Armed with newfound resolve, I started delving into ancient texts and forbidden knowledge, seeking answers that could help me banish this malevolent entity. The path was treacherous and filled with perilous trials, but I pressed on. I performed rituals that required a courage I never knew I possessed, confronted my deepest fears, and stared into the abyss of the unknown. With each step I took, the creature's hold on me weakened, its manifestations growing fainter and more desperate. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I stood at the precipice of a confrontation that would determine my fate. Armed with an incantation that I had unearthed from the annals of forgotten lore, I faced the creature one last time. Its form writhed and contorted, its eyes blazing with fury as it realized that its grip on me was slipping away. With every ounce of determination, I spoke the incantation, my voice shaking but resolute. The air around me crackled with energy, and the creature's wail echoed through the room like a banshee's cry. Its twisted form contorted and convulsed, its grotesque features distorting even further until it finally shattered into a million fragments of darkness, dissipating into the ether. I collapsed to the ground, breathless and victorious. The weight that had haunted my every waking moment was lifted, and for the first time in months, I felt a glimmer of peace. The horrors I had witnessed were not forgotten, but they were no longer able to wield power over me. Life has slowly returned to a semblance of normalcy since that night, but the memories of what I experienced, the chilling reality that there are forces beyond our comprehension, continue to haunt me. I was an ordinary guy until the veil was torn asunder, revealing a world of unimaginable terror. And though I emerged from the ordeal scared and changed, I emerged stronger, armed with the knowledge that even in the face of the most horrifying darkness, the human spirit can triumph.